So before we continue with the video, I want to talk to you guys about where I got this shirt from, and you probably guessed it, jerseyfifa.com. They have kindly sponsored today's video and also sent me a load of free shirts for me to check out myself, and I can now really vouch for the quality of these products. They have loads of shirts to offer on the website, so if you are interested, head to the link in the description down below and check out Jersey FIFA for yourself. Hey guys, welcome back to the AJ Analysis channel, where today we're going to try and explain that absolute monstrosity. 7-0. 7. I am a Manchester United fan. I'm sure so many of you on the channel are aware of that. You know, I've made it pretty clear. We cover a lot of Manchester United content, and we have done all season, and it's been a really good season. But to lose 7-0 feels like a massive step backwards. You know, what we've been talking about in recent weeks is a real good squad mentality, a team mentality, that kind of grit which hasn't been there in the past, the ability to kind of get used to being uncomfortable in moments but still performing well. Not what we saw at Anfield. Instead, what we saw was a complete collapse, and it was actually quite difficult to watch, because what we saw essentially was 11 blokes on a football pitch just throw in the towel and give up, which you can tell I'm just confused, really. I'm not even massively angry or upset or even disappointed with the result or the performance. More than anything, it's just pure confusion. So what we're going to do today is we're going to talk about some of the tactical problems, but also we're just going to kind of discuss it. Because I'm sure you guys don't want too great a breakdown of that because, you know, it's quite painful viewing. However, we do need to talk about the tactics a little bit. Because what I think we saw in this game was a couple of issues which have been issues all season long. And I've been pointing them out all season long, when Manchester United have been playing well, but I've been saying, this here is a little bit of a problem which we need to keep an eye out for. And some people have criticised me for that, however, this game proved me right, unfortunately. I didn't want to be proven right, but I was. So let's talk about what we saw in the first half, because it sounds so stupid, Manchester United just lost 7-0. I think Manchester United maybe edged the first half. It was certainly very tight, and I think it was going how Ten Hag wanted it to go. The way that I expected this game to start, with Manchester United playing a lot of football recently, Liverpool at home at Anfield against Manchester United, the game started exactly how I expected it to, with Liverpool coming out fast and hard with a lot of tempo, a lot of intensity, and Manchester United weathering the storm to an extent. And I think Manchester United done that very well. The way that they done this was by essentially splitting the centre-backs with Marcus Rashford initially, and then what we typically always see is one of the wingers coming a bit narrower, and the other winger being on a fullback. Manchester United then in midfield with Weghorst, Fred and Casemiro are man-to-man in the midfield, making it very difficult for Liverpool to progress the ball in these areas. And then in the front line we've got Luke Shaw tight on Mo Salah, Dalot on Darwin Núñez, and then Varane and Lisandro Martinez essentially taking it in turns to follow Gakpo into deeper areas. And Manchester United in these early stages were doing pretty well. I thought during the first 40 minutes they weren't great, but they were winning a lot of their duels in midfield. Not all of them, but a decent amount of them. They were winning them in that area. I thought when Liverpool were able to create the overload with Gakpo in this area here, I thought Lisandro Martinez and Varane done a good job of turning the ball over, winning the ball back, and then giving it to someone like Casemiro. And Manchester United were doing decent. From here, we were then seeing some sort of threat in transition. However, this is the first part where I think Erik Ten Hag got it wrong. I think Marcus Rashford should have played on the left wing. Now, I completely get why he went with Bruno Fernandes. Trent Alexander-Arnold is a brilliant attacking fullback, so he wanted the work rate of Fernandes to kind of nullify that. However, what I would like to see as Manchester United manager is a bit more front-footedness, basically. Rather than worrying about what Trent Alexander-Arnold does going forward, talk about what Rashford does going forward and play to that strength. Because Rashford has been one of Manchester United's best players this season. He didn't see a touch of the ball. He would have so much more on the left wing, and I think most people in world football would agree he would have had a very decent chance up against Trent. So that was a little bit disappointing from Erik Ten Hag. Regardless of that, Manchester United created some big chances. The back post header for Bruno Fernandes, he has to do better. And then we've also got the Luke Shaw ball over the top for Marcus Rashford, who I think has time to take a touch before then hitting it. Those are two huge chances. Manchester United also had two big opportunities on the high press as well, where they're pressing high in these areas, going man-for-man in midfield, and basically what they're doing is they're man-for-man ball side. So if the ball is on the left-hand side here, Manchester United squeeze over man-for-man like this, and that makes it very difficult for Liverpool to play through. And there are two opportunities where Manchester United win the ball back in these areas, and the end quality was nothing short of pathetic. There's one where Dalot gets the ball here, and I can't think who he's tackled. Is it perhaps Robertson he's tackled? And rather than trying to play a pass, he just slide tackles the ball off the pitch. Manchester United were in a ridiculously good position. So in terms of, we talk about XG models, nothing comes from this because United don't even get the shot off. However, in terms of an opportunity, this was a huge opportunity because they're in such a good position. And it happened on another occasion as well, and I can't remember who gave the ball away on that occasion. But what we were seeing during the first half was that Manchester United were defending pretty well, kind of stopping the ball going into any dangerous areas. Liverpool didn't have a shot on target in the first 40 minutes. Manchester United had 4, I believe it was at the time. So Manchester United were doing decent. However, the problem was on the ball, just a real lack of quality. Fred, no good on the ball. Casemiro was awful. Weghorst kind of showed moments, but not great. Bruno Fernandes, non-existent. Marcus Rashford simply couldn't get the ball. Anthony kind of getting into half-decent areas, but not really doing much with the ball. So what this means is that after 40 minutes, Manchester United have sacrificed possession, basically. Liverpool had most of the ball. But I thought Manchester United were creating better opportunities. Genuinely, I think that. You might disagree. But in that first 40 minutes, Liverpool had one good chance. And Sandro Martinez blocked it on Darwin Núñez. Whereas the other end, Bruno Fernandes, Rashford, Dalot all got into good positions. So, again, it finished 7-0, so it seems bizarre to say Manchester United were kind of doing okay in the first half, but they were. However, what we then see for the first goal is an error which has been here all season long, and I've just been waiting for a team to exploit it. And that is what I was talking about. How Manchester United like one of their wingers to come inside on the press. When you have a goalkeeper who can pass the ball like Alisson can, and then two fullbacks, two of the best ball-playing fullbacks that the world has ever seen, really, in Trent Alexander-Arnold and Robertson, it's going to cause you problems. And it caused big problems for the Manchester United structure. Because it allowed Alisson to play the ball over here to Robertson. Robertson now has space. Now what this means as a result is Dalot has to come out and engage the ball. There's no other choice here. However, this then leaves a massive gap down this side of the pitch. An area which Fred then has to cover, and basically, Manchester United just get pulled apart. Robertson comes inside, Dalot is far too passive, doesn't put a tackle in, so it's really poor defending from him. Robertson comes inside, Fred is now kind of a makeshift right back, a position which we know, he's not a right back, that's not his position. Robertson plays the ball through, Gakpo kind of stands up Rafael Varane really poor defensively, kind of gets his body shape all wrong. Gakpo cuts inside, does him, and it's a really good finish. I think De Gea, if he dived it would be nice, but not going to really criticise him on that one. However, what this means is that Manchester United go down 1-0 and go in at half-time 1-0 down. And basically what we saw from there in the second half was just a complete collapse. And genuinely, I don't think the collapse was because of massive tactical reason. I don't think Liverpool was suddenly phenomenal. I thought Gakpo done much better in the second half than he did the first half, to be fair. He was kind of winning these battles. And I thought Harvey Elliott was really good. However, I don't think Liverpool were phenomenal, which is why it's so frustrating as a Manchester United fan, because they were beaten so easily. And, I said I was going to tell you why Manchester United were beaten in this game. It is this reason right here. So what have Manchester United been very good at recently? Let's get Ten Hag on screen, because he's a big part of this. What have Manchester United done very well recently? They've gone man for man in midfield against the likes of Newcastle, they've done it against Barcelona. We've seen it in a lot of big games. And what we've seen is second halves where Manchester United come out really intense, really hyped up, full of energy, and they go and win their battles in midfield. And that is key to a man-to-man press. We've seen, again, Manchester United man for man in the midfield, which means if your players are playing with intensity, with aggression, and, on the front foot, and you win your 50-50 duels in midfield, you win the midfield battle. You win a midfield battle in football, you tend to win a lot of football matches. And that is what we've seen from Manchester United recently. However, that is not what we saw in the second half. Second half, Manchester United did not win a single one of these battles. Not a single one of them. It was pathetic, basically. There is no other word for it. They didn't win a single battle. Now, what happens when you don't win any of these battles is you start to see errors creep into the team. Luke Shaw at left back with an error which it's so bad. The pass into the midfield, it's so bad. Luke Shaw hasn't played that pass all season long. It's just one of those moments where it's just silly, it's a head loss, it's a bad pass into midfield. But then what we saw was the chance to recover it. Casemiro gets in there, Weghorst gets in there, and Fred gets in there. All three of them are in that area. Not a single one of them wins the ball back. What happens is Liverpool go through and score the goal. So Liverpool are now 2-0 up, and Manchester United are suddenly hit. They are shell-shocked. Because normally they come out at the start of the second half and are really impressive. That didn't happen. Now suddenly what happens here is head loss. Complete and utter head loss. And the problem is, right, keep saying it, man for man press. It's all about winning your... If you're man for man, it's quite simple all over the pitch. You're 1 versus 1. Win your battle. If everyone wins their battles, you win the football match. 9 times out of 10, it's as simple as that. When you don't win your man for man battle, it's a long day. And what happens is when you've got a Liverpool team who have now got the energy and emotion of Anfield behind them, combined with kind of that feeling of, oh, hang on, we can actually kind of play football again. And they're winning 2-0. They've got a lot of energy in their midfield. They're going in, winning the duels. Jordan Henderson looks 5 years younger. Fabinho looks like a footballer again. Liverpool have got that boost in midfield up against a Manchester United team which is now completely rattled. So suddenly you've got a confident, high-flying midfielder up against a player incredibly short on confidence who looks rattled. Man-for-man duel, it's a mismatch. And Liverpool are now winning these man-for-man duels. Then it's 3-0. Errors leading to all of these goals, but it's now 3-0. So what happens? Again, Manchester United's heads drop a little bit further. So as a result, it's easier for Liverpool to win their man-for-man battle. So then it's 4-0. United's heads drop even further. Liverpool win the midfield battle. Man-for-man, it's 5-0, 6-0, 7-0. It really is as simple as that. When you go man-for-man in the midfield, you have to win your battles. It's hard to win your battles at 5-0 down. It really is. All of this, though, also has to be combined with the fact that Liverpool's execution was simply phenomenal. Like, absolutely phenomenal. I've never seen anything like it. What was it, 8 shots on target to score 7 goals? I mean, we can talk about David De Gea. I think everyone knows my thoughts on him. So I don't want to talk about David De Gea, because you can't really concede 2 goals from the byline. But hey-ho, Liverpool scored 7 goals from an expected goals of 2.9. And this is where I think Manchester United fans need to pay attention to that stat. Manchester United did not deserve to lose this game 7-0. Liverpool were the better team, yes, and should have won 3-0, 3-1 probably would have been about right. Like I said, that first half was really close. I thought United edged it. You know, this was a close game for 40 minutes, and to lose it 7-0 is just bonkers. It's an anomaly, and that is how Manchester United fans should look at it, in my opinion. I don't think it's suddenly, this squad's an embarrassment. I thought the second half was an embarrassment, don't get me wrong. But United weren't played off the park, and that is what's so weird about it. And that's where Liverpool do deserve a lot of credit. In their big moments, they executed. For Mo Salah to score on a half volley on his right foot without even looking at the goal, Mo Salah hasn't been doing that this season. It's just very good execution. The first Gakpo goal, we haven't been seeing that from him at Liverpool. It's just really good execution. So Liverpool deserve a lot of credit for that, because in the big moments, which is what decides games at this level, Liverpool produced. Manchester United in the first half, we saw with those chances, just didn't. So Liverpool absolutely deserve to win this. However, Manchester United fans, I say this a lot on the channel, it is never as bad as it looks, and it is never as good as it looks in football. So as good as it has looked for Manchester United recently, they're not title winners. They're not going to win a title this season because the squad isn't good enough. However, on the flip side of it, after a 7-0 loss, it's not as bad as it looks. Manchester United suddenly aren't terrible. This isn't back to Rangnick ball and Ollie ball last season. That's not what's happened here. So, some level-headedness is needed from Manchester United fans. I get it. The performance, second half was embarrassing. The players threw in the towel. There's no other word for it. Their heads were completely gone. They were losing every battle. They were whining rather than getting on with it. It wasn't good enough. Come on to Bruno Fernandes in a second. Ten Hag, I think, also deserves a bit of criticism. I think in the first half, just in the game in general, I think he got it wrong. I think Marcus Rashford should have been playing on the left wing with Weghorst up top and Bruno Fernandes in the middle, because it gets your 2 best attackers in their best positions and against what is Liverpool's weakness as well. So Manchester United should have exposed that. The other reason that Erik ten Hag deserves some criticism is for a naivety in the second half. Your team is 3-0 down. You're still going for a man-for-man press all over the pitch. You're still going forward. You're still trying to get goals. You probably shouldn't. You've probably just got to, at that point, kind of take it. We've lost this game. Let's damage limitation. Let's get our wingers back in. Maybe bring someone like Elanga on for Rashford, a more defensive winger. Let's get back inside and, let's defend. Let's see this game out. We might lose this match 3-0. We're not going to get a goal, but, at least it's not 7. So that was naive from Erik ten Hag. It was naive. However, he was let down by his players because they did all throw in the towel. This was 11 individuals on the football pitch who basically looked like they couldn't be bothered. They lost the mental battle. I don't think Manchester United lost this game for tactical reasons. I think they lost it for emotional and mental reasons, which then as a result is always going to lead to physical loss on the pitch. Bruno Fernandes. Bruno. I'm seeing calls for the worst captaincy performance of all time. I'm seeing he should never be Manchester United captain again. And I get it. It was bad. It was really bad. However, first things first, let's rewind 7 days to when I covered the Newcastle game. I was scrolling through Twitter that day, and everyone is saying, this is why Bruno Fernandes should be captain. Bruno Fernandes deserves to lift this trophy. He should be our captain. It's a matter of time before he's captain, like on a permanent basis instead of Maguire. This is our captain. This is what a captain should be. Blah, 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 blah. So a week later, he doesn't deserve to be captain because of a loss. On the whole, he's begging to be taken off, which Gary Neville said live on commentary. He's begging to be taken off. He's pleading with his manager to be taken off. I've seen the clip. No, he wasn't. Now, again, people might disagree with me here. And don't get me wrong, let me just clear up. Bruno Fernandes should be ashamed of himself for his performance, because he literally gave up. We saw Bajicic just walked past him down the wing. So yes, absolutely, he should be ashamed of himself. It was pathetic, and genuinely, I think the players should pay for the fans' tickets. It was that bad. I do think they should. However, I don't think we should lie and say he was begging to come off the pitch, because that isn't what happened. If you watch the clip, he kind of goes like this, right? He puts his hands like this, asking, because basically, at the time Manchester United are making a substitute, and you can see all the players aren't quite sure who it is that's coming off. Even Rashford kind of points to himself and go, is it me? And then walks off because it was him. To say Bruno Fernandes had his arms in the air and was begging to come off is a lie, unless there's a different clip out there. The clips that I have seen are Bruno Fernandes seemingly asking if it's him coming off, and all the players around him look confused. All the Manchester United players are kind of standing there like, is it, oh, it's him? Is it me? Oh, it's him. So I don't think we should make up stories about Bruno Fernandes begging to come off. However, at the same time, his performance was a shambles. That's all for today, I think. That's my little rant out the way. But again, level-headedness is never as bad as it looks. Liverpool executed ridiculously well. If you told me before the game Liverpool were only going to have 8 shots on target in this game, I would have been quite content with that, because we know how dangerous they can be going forward. 8 shots on target, to concede that, it isn't too bad. And if you told me, that it was going to Manchester United were going to have those first half chances, I'd have been happy with that. Even at 1-0 down, I thought Manchester United were in a good position, because I thought they had a decent first half. Not great, but it was okay. Second half, it's a collapse. It's an anomaly. It's a game which... Is it an anomaly? That's the question, actually. Is it an anomaly, or is there a mental weakness in this squad? That's what Ten Hag needs to figure out. Because there have been games like this before, if you think about it. It's an anomaly for the past few months, is how I'd put it. Performance-wise, in terms of tactics-wise, it's an anomaly. However, the players' mentality is perhaps something which we need to look into further. But in terms of what Manchester United fans, I think, should take from this game is... It was bad. It was shocking. They should get their money back. The fans that went, I genuinely think the players should do that. I like to see Varane at the end demanding that the players go over and applaud the fans. That's good to see as well. But, not many teams score 7 from 2.9 XG. Another day, Rashford takes a touch and puts the ball in the back of the net in the first half. Bruno Fernandes gets his header right. Dalot doesn't slide the ball behind for a goal kick. And then up the other end, Luke Shaw doesn't pass to them for 2 goals. De Gea doesn't concede 2 from the byline. Lisandro Martinez doesn't get beaten as easily. Casemiro does his job in front of the defence. Manchester United chose a really bad day to have a lot of off performances. And by a lot, I mean 11. So, it's Liverpool. Liverpool are that good. They haven't been good this season, but the quality is there. And it's why the other day in a Liverpool video I was saying stick with Jurgen Klopp, get his identity back. We saw that from Liverpool in this game and they were good. They deserve their win, absolutely. However, Manchester United fans, just remember, you are still 7 points clear of Liverpool. You're 4 points clear, I think it is, of Spurs. You're third. You've won a trophy this season. Not as bad as it looks. Just remember what happened last season, alright? Ten Hag's doing a brilliant job. So, if you dare turn on Eric Ten Hag, I swear, I've seen Ten Hag out trending on Twitter. If I speak on that, I am in big trouble. I'm not going any further. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you have enjoyed the video. I mean, you probably haven't because, what we're talking about. But you know what I mean. I hope you agreed with some of my points. If you didn't, let me know in the comments. If you did, let me know in the comments. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you've enjoyed it. And I'll see you in the next one.